Let's talk about the reality for corporate training, learning, and development programs for most organizations. It starts with a learning management system. Learning teams develop content, curriculum, and materials, as well as the processes to communicate the information to the employees. The first goal is to get the initial bump, the reaction from the employees, and then it's on to behaviors, learning, and ultimately to drive increased performance. All of this costs money, which is referred to as your training spend. But how much of that learning material is actually retained by your employees? Well, for most companies, it's about 21%. That's what CEOs refer to as poor ROI. So, how do we fix this problem? Simply change the paradigm. That's where Ringarang can help. We've been able to increase the learning retention to 83% for most companies across all sizes and learning topics. Let me show you what I mean.
Ringarang, through an app-based format, engages your people every day in a way that you've never done before, makes it fun for them to learn your information and commit it to actionable habits, and that those habits translate to performance improvement measurably. How do you improve performance? There are common methods out there. One of the most popular is called the Kirkpatrick model, and this shows how reactions to your learning then lead to the actual learning, which lead to changes in behaviors, and those changes ostensibly lead to performance impacts. But the problem is, in reality, people don't remember their training. Unless it is absolutely core to what you do every day as an employee. And this, by the way, relates to customers as well when they're getting advertising and marketing. Unless you're getting it every day over and over and applying it to your life, you're not going to remember it. So there's a thing called the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. Herman Ebbinghaus was a researcher. This is over 120 years ago. And his research results are still the gold standard in how the brain is naturally designed to remember and how it forgets. So the forgetting curve, when mapped across the Kirkpatrick model, it looks something like this. So if you have really great training, let's say you have a charismatic instructor and terrific information, then you've got this nice peak of learning right here, and you've got reactions from your people saying, this is relevant to me, this is useful, and then it proceeds to fall right out of their head. So the learning is subpar, behaviors do not get changed to any significant degree, and performance, any impacts can't really be correlated to any learning. This is what, in theory, is a great learning ecosystem for an organization. You've got your manual that's here in PDF on an intranet site. You have your e-learning modules. You're sending out reminder e-newsletters by email, sending out surveys. You're doing a town hall with your executives and quizzes, and then you have instructor-led training in the classroom, and all of that data is being captured in learning record stores or an LMS system. This looks great. But in reality, here's the way it goes. You get a great instructor in the classroom, and there's this nice bump in learning. But then, of course, because of the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, the brain proceeds to lose 80 to 90% of that over the course of the month. Let's say this is what January looks like. So then, since you're a rock star organization, you have your e-learnings that are launched just the next month in February, and there's another bump in learning. But then, over the course of the month, we lose it. So then you start launching e-newsletters, one every week, and there are little minor bumps if you can get people to pay attention to the email, which is hard enough as it is. So then you realize that it takes a while to make those emails every week, so you just relegate it to once a month through April, May. Meantime, you're trying to come up with some new solution while you've basically flatlined the learning, and you publish the manual that everyone's supposed to go to the intranet to look at, and some people do in the beginning, and then they forget, and most people don't go. Here you are 6 to 7 months out. This is the way you transform that terrible purgatory that most organizations continue to do year after year. You keep people engaged on a daily and weekly basis, over and over again, returning them to pieces of the manual that are critical for their organization, for its operation on a daily basis. You return them back to that e-newsletter so it's not lost. You remind them of what they saw in the classroom, and then you take a pause and they lose a little, and then it comes back again. And you remind them to go back to that e-learning piece, to something that they saw in the town hall, to that quiz or survey. And you're not only sustaining this learning across 1 month period, you're actually growing it measurably in the dashboard. This is how Ringarang does it. And not just for 1 month, you can keep this going year round. And the punchline in all of this is that learning without daily reinforcement is not learning at all. Period.